Hey, Mike, how you been?
Good, man. How are you? How are you?
Doing all right, doing all right. Yeah, we're gonna do a quick podcast about AprilAire, and decided to bring in an expert. Mike, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Mike Garrity. I am the manufacturer rep or business development specialist with AprilAire. I service Austin, San Antonio, West Texas for AprilAire. Been doing it for 2 years now.
Could you give us a brief history on AprilAire?
Yeah, absolutely. We started back in 1954 up in Madison, Wisconsin. The first product we launched was a humidifier. And since then, what we've tried to do is transition to be an IAQ company and not just your everyday manufacturer of coils, condensers, boxes. So our message is healthy air. How can we create a healthy climate for that consumer?
Okay, so that's your North Star. You're trying to.
Absolutely. That's the message, and really the vision right now as we changed and things happen over the past couple of years is how can we get more opportunity with providing IAQ solutions.
Is that kind of like how you differentiate yourself? Oh, I didn't even say that right. Like, is that how you separate yourself from your company?
Yeah, man. I think a lot of it is from our part. And what I can do to provide, my feedback here is really educate my contractors down to the consumer as to what they're getting in their home, and relaying the messages of, hey, it's not only going to help you in your home and your health, but it's also going to help preserve your HVAC system, your home, your doors, your foundation, the walls, things like that. So it's a full sell, but it's also a consultative approach.
Okay, so real quick, you just mentioned like how it benefits the health of an HVAC system. Can you explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. So what we're known a lot in the Texas market for our high efficiency filtration. So when we talk about filters, we want to be in that 4-inch, kind of the upper echelon, I'd say, of the filter market, because we know our filters are a little bit more thick, which comes off as we get a lot of, hey, that's way more restrictive. We actually have 36 to almost 40 feet of accordion-style media that effectively is able to load longer and last longer in the system, which effectively protects not only your equipment, but keeps that equipment running more efficient.
Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about dehumidifiers for a second. Yeah. What do you guys normally see in this area in the way of, let's say, homeowners needing dehumidifiers?
Yeah, great question. I think a lot from what we've seen in my market is there needs to be a belief that humidity control is needed in every home. I think that is something the entire industry is a little bit behind on, but educating how can we get a dehumidifier, into the home and then relay, hey, that'll take not only your system to another level as far as runtime and efficiency, but also keeping you comfortable at different temperatures. So a cool stat is for 1% or 1 degree change in Fahrenheit is about 4% swing in relative humidity. So you can feel better at higher temperatures with a dehumidifier.
100% the case, because we see it all the time, like San Antonio, Austin, and even Dallas, where you just can't get the humidity under 60%, and they're just uncomfortable. Like how do we fix this problem? And that's when we introduce you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And for us too, I think a lot of it. I will say a lot of our dehumidifiers are driven by climate condition. For instance, in Houston, they sell in so much abundance because the climate is always so humid. So for us, it's a lot more front-end education, training guys, getting a bunch of people in the room to really discuss the benefits of dehumidification.
Okay. So let's say, because I'm familiar with how to install them on a traditional split system, but how would that work out, let's say, in a basement?
Yeah, so in a basement, and we're actually a company located up north, so basements are very prevalent up there. We can actually not only attach that to your system and install it with existing ductwork, we can actually have a standalone dehumidifier where you're just plugging it in some corner or some part of that basement, and that thing, as long as it has a drain line, will begin to operate and run to that set.
Really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really good to know. Okay, so now, because for me, I'm familiar with the whole home like dehumidifiers. So can you talk about like the whole home systems that you?
Yeah, no, definitely. Our focus on dehumidifiers is the whole home. A lot of it, and we talked about it before we came on, was the portable market is a big selling point in these big box stores. I think it's a billions of dollar market. What we're not realizing is that's only taking care of a portion of the problem. You're going to have areas of the house that are still be humid. You're taking care of a smaller space. You're dumping in the bucket, multiple times a day. So for us, if you're tying that into your HVAC system or it's a standalone, whatever it is, you're incorporating that into the runtime of your unit. And it's effectively taking a little more stress off the unit as well. So it's a whole system approach, but we also have other products that we like to call the healthy air system.
Gotcha. And so, like, how would you properly size one of these for us?
Great question. We base our size recommendations off of square footage of the home, and then how many air changes are happening naturally. So we look at how old is that home or how new is that home, and we give a really solid baseline as to what we recommend on unit sizing and then equipment as well.
Okay, gotcha. Now, I do know, like, sometimes, let's say, the air handler's in the attic, and I got a tight space that I'm having to go up into, and I just don't have a lot of room. Well, can you explain to me, like, some of the dimensions of your, like, how small are they?
Yeah, so the smaller units, the E70 that we were talking about and saw out there, is a little bit smaller, specifically designed for a crawl space. So that's about a 14 by I would say 15 to 20 inches box. Now, you get bigger, you get 100, 130 pints. That's a 70-pound unit. So you're talking double that size, anywhere between 20 by 30 or so. So it's a big unit.
70-pound one, like, it's great because, like, we can get it almost anywhere.
Sure,
So, yeah,
sure.
that's been...
And the other thing, too, is I would recommend on our dehumidification is how many systems are in the home, and then really can we get one dehumidifier per system is normally our recommendation. Now, that being said, if there is a split system, there are ways to not only dehumidify but zone and do different functionalities with that can essentially make that dehumidifier take care of two systems as well.
Yeah, that one that you saw out there, it's actually going into... I think it's like some crazy variable speed zone, multi-zone system.
Really?
It's all being like wired up together and everything
wow.
else, so it worked properly. So yeah, we got somebody much smarter than me like working on that.
I got you.
But can you explain to me like what makes you guys the top? What makes you guys the best? Let's say dehumidifier brand and the market. Like what separates?
Yeah. So for us, I mean, we're relying a lot upon. Not only are you going to see me supporting that partnership with my dealers, you're also going to get a trusted solution. And with that being said, everything from the inner workings in that dehumidifier, we've changed some of the components due to engineering testing, seeing leakage. Fixing from copper to aluminum coils has been a big improvement for us, as well as different functionalities with our control options. So a lot of these dehumidifiers you're going to see need some sort of wall control or need some sort of dehumidistat. In our case, all of our units come with onboard control, so you're giving yourself different options on the install side. But the last thing that I wanted to touch on that we talked about a little bit was our warranty is 5 years from the date of installation, but it is a retroactive warranty in the fact that if something were to fail in year 4, month 6, something inside that, I call it a little closed refrigerant unit. If something were to fail, we will not only take care of that old unit and get rid of that one, but get you the entire new unit from your supply house and then start that warranty over on day one. So it's a really big advantage that not many manufacturers can.
Okay, so you guys really stand behind your product.
Absolutely. That's a big thing for us.
Okay, very good. And, we mostly talked about dehumidifiers because that's what we see so much here. Yeah. But can you tell us a little bit about all the different IQ products that you offer?
Absolutely, man. So our full suite really starts with the thermostat. We just launched a whole new thermostat line, S86 thermostats. And from there, what we really focus on is high-efficiency filtration, humidity control, so both humidifiers and dehumidifiers, Fresh air ventilation, everything from your passive system, which is just a damper and a control, up towards a powered ventilator, which is actually supply side ventilation. And then we do get into some ERVs. I get a lot of questions about those. There should be more to come on that, but right now we do offer one of those as well. Now, that being said, we do zone control. So if you're talking more control, hot, cold spots in the home, we get into that. And then last but not least, we are getting into the UV game as well. We're coming out with a light here in the next quarter, kind of as a way to become, like I said, a full circle IAQ manufacturer and really put all the pieces of the puzzle to offer those solutions.
Gotcha. Now specifically, like, we see a lot of people here, on this side of the world dealing with like cedar problems and allergies and mold and stuff. How do you guys like?
I'm dealing with it right now. Yeah, so a lot of our messages around I'll just focus on filtration here, have changed to consumer-focused stuff. On our boxes, you'll see healthy air, healthy home. We go up in MERV rating. We start at MERV 11, but we have options for 13, MERV 13 carbon, MERV 16. A lot of what we're seeing when people want those higher MERV ratings is allergy triggers. It is mold, there's some sort of trigger in that house situation that they're requesting that. So for us, really, my goal with our contractors in the base here is educating on asking the right questions. Does someone suffer allergies, or is there pet dander? Is there a bunch of cooking? If you don't ask those questions, I mean, a lot could be left off the table in terms of some of that.
And so some of those MERV 13s and so on filters that can really limit the amount of irritation and suffering that they're dealing with.
Yes, yeah, and absolutely.
Obviously not everything, but it's going to be a big help.
Not everything. And one point too, Kenneth, I should say is not to take advantage of a crazy situation, but when COVID did happen and it started, these powers that be, the EPAs of the world, the ASHRAEs, a lot of government bodies, they told the entire industry that 3 things are needed for optimal indoor air quality: high efficiency filtration, humidity control, and then fresh air ventilation. And with those 3 things that we can offer at AprilAire can provide that optimal indoor air quality. So I think a mix of those is the right equation.
Okay, so all of those, you combine all of them, and then you're going to get...
You're looking at some of the best results in terms of I say optimal indoor air quality, but it's something that you can measure, see, and really relay to your customer.
Oh, fantastic! Well, I really appreciate you having on. Really appreciate having you on.
Yeah,
and we're gonna have to do this again.
No, man, absolutely glad to be here, man.
Absolutely. So good stuff, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.